joining us now is Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He serves on the House Oversight and Armed Services Committee. Congressman, great to have you with us.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so we heard some warnings from President Biden yesterday. He also says that NATO, the U.S., they're ready to respond whatever Vladimir Putin does. But they failed to really demonstrate that so far, really at every stage of this crisis. And it does appear like Vladimir Putin still has the upper hand.
Yeah, John, there's no doubt. And there was no withdrawal of troops like Putin lied. It was just merely a rotation of troops. He was putting fresh ones right on the front lines. And you know what? Joe Biden should have done two things back in October. Now, first, he should have sent, I signed on to a letter which highly urged the president to send additional lethal aid to the Ukraine in October. Not now, but then. So that would have done two things. It would have been practical for the Ukrainians to be, well armed, but it also would have acted as a deterrent to the Russians to say, well, listen, we're serious about helping the Ukraine and we'll impose sanctions. That's the second thing that President Biden should have done. He should have outlined the exact specific sanctions that he would have put on the Russians if they were to violate the sovereignty of the Ukraine.
Yeah, there's rumors of a cyber attack as well. I mean, what happens if we see a cyber attack? Everyone's focused on a, old school land invasion of Ukraine, but we're talking about asymmetrical warfare here.
Right. Well, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and their military were hit with a cyber attack yesterday. And of course, the quote unquote culprits are unknown, but I suspect it probably had something to do with, the Russians. So yeah, this is typical out of their playbook. And what the American people need to understand is what Putin has been saying for years now. I mean, when he was just the prime minister of Russia, he said that the Ukrainians and the Russians aren't brothers. They're in each other's souls. He does not look upon the Ukraine as another country. He truly looks upon it as part of, greater Russia.
Yeah, and we don't know what type of horse trading is going on these phone calls. President Biden will talk to the German chancellor this afternoon. Olaf Scholz was just in Moscow meeting with Putin, and I think it's pretty telling, Congressman, that all these European leaders are running to meet with Vladimir Putin. They're not deferring to President Biden, the U.S. commander-in-chief, or NATO on this. It doesn't seem like there's any kind of unified response here or a single point of American leadership on this.
Well, yeah, it's unfortunate because the Germans are on they're off the reservation because they need, they're desperate for energy, and you've got the Nord Stream 2 pipeline hasn't come online yet, but it's danger close to doing so, and that's a significant boost to the German economy, and we can't as the United States let the Germans have veto authority over our foreign policy. What I would have done, the President of the United States should have said, if the Russians invade the Ukraine, we're going to sanction your secondary bond market. We're going to sanction your banks and corporations, particularly large banks like VTB. We're going to punish the oligarchs and the allies of the Putin regime with maybe even seizures of assets, denial of visas. And lastly, and this is the big stick in the quiver, if you will, John, is to deny Russia access to SWIFT, which is the electronic global banking system. We did that to Iran, and it crippled their economy.
Yeah, and this is, again, another reminder of how energy independence is really a national security issue. The Germans, the French, they wish they were more energy independent. They would not have to be bending a knee to Vladimir Putin here. Let's move on, Congressman, and talk about the Durham probe. John Durham has dropped some bombshell information here. Hillary Clinton was actually asked about this yesterday, and we got a clip of her being asked about it from the Daily Mail. Here's that.
Did you pay to spy on the Trump campaign? When are you going to comment on the spying allegations, Hillary? Did you pay for to have them spied on?
I was just waiting for her to say, what difference does it make, Congressman? I mean, until you get Hillary Clinton and you and your Republican colleagues get Hillary Clinton back in that chair to ask her questions about this, we're never going to get to the bottom of it, are we?
No, I think that she got, this is, John, let's talk about what was just discovered. I mean, this is, as you said, a bombshell. This is a revelation this is Watergate proportions, that Mike Sussman, he was paid by the Clinton campaign to spy on President Trump. He was billing them, and they were paying him. He wasn't doing this on spec, and the mainstream media is ignoring this because they have proven once again that they're not journalists looking for the truth and questioning power. What they are is a public relations wing of the DNC.
And I think it's worse than the fact that they're ignoring it. We see a concerted effort from several establishment and legacy media outlets to gaslight us on this issue and tell us again, Congressman, that how dare you bring up these conspiracy theories? How dare you even ask questions if this is possible? The allegations are that this guy Jaffe had access to the DNS numbers, basically the IP addresses of computers inside the Trump campaign, and they were tracking them. And even if it is not illegal, it's just a disgusting representation of what the Clinton campaign was willing to do to try and get the upper hand on the Trump campaign. And I think a lot of people would like to get to the bottom of this. Do you think that there could be actual criminal indictments coming from this latest piece of information?
I think that I would be surprised, quite frankly, if there weren't. You have conspiracy theories over here, and then you have the truth. We have now discovered that this is the truth, and President Trump was right all along. And the court of public opinion, Hillary Clinton, she was floating balloons about possibly being a candidate in 2024. This will put the final nail in the Clinton candidacy coffin once and for all. And that's why she can't answer questions about this. And that's why elections have consequences. And we need a Republican majority in the House and hopefully in the Senate, so where we can haul her under oath in front of a committee, whether it's oversight or judiciary, and ask these questions where she's going to need to finally come clean.
Well, she's giving a speech this week to the Democrats in New York. Do you think she'll address this at all? She will probably make a joke about it and, again, try to gaslight us for, oh, what, like wipe it with a cloth? That whole joke that she made about us wanting to see what she was doing with her emails and her secret server. So many questions.
Well, John, we can be sure that Hillary Clinton will be flippant about it for sure. Yeah. And she's want to kind of probably try to dismiss it with a quick joke at the beginning and then, quote unquote, move on to the real issues. Well, this is a real issue. And I think this is literally going to sink the Clinton political machine once and for all.
Well, some people can't believe it's still afloat. Congressman, great to see you. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, John. God bless.